Mic check 1 2 1 2. We are down in the storage room, and I came down here to pick up this copy of Astral Chain for the Nintendo Switch because I've been doing some gaming again. I'm kind of in a little bit of a laid back fall mode, so I'm starting to dive back into some of the games that I had started and didn't get to complete. I made it to about 30% through the way of Astral Chain, and now it's time for me to complete it. So this is definitely one that I'm glad to start working on again. And then I'm gonna have to hook up my PS4 again so that I can finish Blasphemous. I've tried playing Blasphemous on the Switch, but for some reason it's just more fun for me on the PS4. It's a little bit easier for me to control, I guess. I like the PS4 controller. So I'm going to be diving back into these two. But since I was down here, I figured I'd go through 10 Switch games that you won't find in the wild anymore. And they're probably really expensive if you try to get them on eBay. So looking at the first one, Guacamelee 1-2 Punch. A lot of you know about this. This is kind of like a combination of two Guacamelee games, the one and two, obviously. But this is kind of like a side-scrolling platforming type of game. I love my side-scrolling platformers. Obviously, you can download this one, but you can't find this physically anymore. This game was like all over the place in Best Buy like a couple years ago. This was when Best Buy still carries a good amount of Switch games, but this was one that you were able to find. You might still be able to find like a snaggletooth loose copy of this game somewhere, but this is shot up. I know it's definitely over $60 to $70. I know at one point it was touching $100. I don't know if it's still at that price point. You guys can let me know in the comments. But this is one that definitely I remember shooting up. Next up, Anno Mutation M. This is a limited run game. A lot of limited run games were eventually finding their way to Best Buy. Again, this is a very interesting kind of like side-scrolling hack and slash style game. Very interesting though. Love the cover art on this game. Just the whole anime look is definitely, and the colors, this is definitely, top tier when it comes to the cover art. This is one that I would definitely check out. Follows that whole cyberpunk theme. She has some really cool powers and moves in this game, so I definitely check this one out. But definitely over $50 on this one. Not quite as expensive as Guacamelee, but one that I would check out if you're collecting for the Switch at the moment. Here's one that if you're a fan of Castlevania Symphony of the Night, you'll love this one. This is Time Spinner on the Nintendo Switch. There were two versions of this that were released. The version that you could have got straight from Limited Run that had a different cover art. This was the Best Buy cover art, which I picked up back when this game first released. And I like this cover art, actually. I think I like this one better than the other one. But Time Spinner was a cheap one. It was like a $29 to $35 game, and then it shot up. It was one of those limited run games that definitely shot up, most likely because of the gameplay. It's a side scroller. It plays like Symphony of the Night. You have a bunch of different side missions that you could go on. I think the moves in this game are cool, but the best thing about this game is definitely the music. I've had a couple copies of this game in the past, and I downloaded it when it first came out. I remember there was a point where I would download the Switch game first to see if I liked it, and if I did, then I would get the physical copy. But I definitely stopped doing that because it started adding up. Golf Story. So Golf Story is one of those ones that I downloaded first, and then picked up the physical copy once I realized how cool this game actually is. This is definitely one where you could pour yourself a cup of coffee, sit back and play this game. If you like golf games, I love golfing games, all types of golfing games. I remember I used to play Cyber Tiger back in the day, Mario Golf back in the day, but I've never played it in this 2D like RPG format, which is kind of interesting. So I think this is a great combination of golf and kind of like a RPG, like an Earthbound style RPG. I think the storyline in this game is pretty cool, and you'll like this one. This is a very chill game. Definitely recommend that one. Golf Story also. So Golf Story and Time Spinner, like I said, these are easily like over $60 to $70. If you're able to find them online, for sure, but you're not finding these in the wild at all. Next up, this one's from Strictly Limited. Griffin Knight. I like a good shoot 'em up. This one is more of kind of like a cute 'em up. This plays a little bit like Cotton, like the Cotton series. Um, Side-scrolling shoot 'em up, basically. Beautiful graphics, though. Games like this, I pick up just for the beautiful pixel art. This is one of the earlier strictly limited games, too. Well, I got one of the last copies. Look at that, 29.54. So only 3,000 physical copies of this one made. This one's going to run you some coin. You're not going to find this in the wild. It's definitely limited. But if you do happen to find it at like a retro game store, definitely do a price check, see if you can get a deal on it. This is one that you just won't see anywhere. This is RXN Raijin. For those of you who follow the channel, you know I love me a good shoot 'em up. This is one of those games that was, I believe this was delisted, so you can't download it anywhere. And there's only a certain number of physical copies that were made by East Asia Soft. I don't know if it's listed anywhere on here, but I know there's a limited amount of copies of this that were made. There are a few special editions that you could have gotten from East Asia Soft, but this is basically like a bullet hell shoot 'em up. So if you're into that style with, you know, the great music that usually comes with these types of shoot 'em ups, definitely look this one up, RXN Raijin. This one is going to cost you, though, I believe this one is roughly around $100. Maybe it's dipped, maybe it's gone up or down. I haven't checked the pricing on any Switch games in a really long time, so I'm kind of guesstimating based on what I saw these games going for the last time I checked them. But I know most, if not all of them, are definitely above 50 to 60 bucks. Here's one that I'm pretty sure is at 100 bucks. This is Haiku on the Switch. I love these types of weird games. These weird, like, modern retro style games on the Switch. I love these. These are like right up my alley. And if I ever start collecting for the Switch again, my whole collection is going to be made up of these types of games. But this is follows that whole 8-bit style monochromatic. It's like a monochromatic 8-bit style game. Very cool action platformer. If you're into that, you'll enjoy this. And then Inmost is pretty much the same way. It's like a monochromatic 8-bit style action platforming game, but there's a lot more detail and nuance in Inmost than I think there is in Haiku. Both of these games are roughly around 100 bucks for sure. In fact, they both might be over 100 bucks right now. But these are two dope Switch games that I would definitely see if I can find out there in the wild. You probably won't find these in the wild. To be honest with you, you probably won't find these games in most game stores. And if you do, they're probably going to try and charge you an arm and a leg for these in most retro game stores, because those are two very cool games, and they both came from Super Rare. I think only 3,000 or 4,000 copies of each of these games were ever made. And these will probably be the games that will resell for a ton 20 years from now when we start looking at the Switch as a super retro console. But the only thing I don't like about this is that this is kind of like manufactured rarity, right? It's not like they weren't like truly rare, but they are rare, but it is what it is. Steriden Binary Stars. I'm a huge fan of shoot 'em ups, and this is kind of like that hand-drawn art style shoot 'em up. I picked this up. I think I paid like 80 bucks, 70 or 80 bucks for this a couple years ago, because this game has always been expensive on the Nintendo Switch. This is one of the earlier strictly limited games. As you can see, this is the ninth not strictly limited, sorry. This is the 9th super rare release. So this is their 9th game that they released. Where do these fall? These were a little bit later. Yeah, so Haiku was 94, Inmost was 51. Yeah, so this was earlier in Super Rare's list of releases. You can download all these games, but getting the physical copies are great because they all come with the manuals and the little extras that come inside. I kept all my copies sealed and downloaded these games. The only super rare game that I've actually have opened and out of the plastic is Freedom Finger. I remember when I picked this up, and I think this is one of the earlier ones too, 39. Yeah, Freedom Finger's a super rare release. This is also a side-scrolling shooter. Super funny though. Check this one out. Last but not least, Flynn, Son of Crimson. This is also a super rare release. This is number 66. Beautiful side-scroller action platformer. The pixel art on this game is really just top tier. this is one that I definitely recommend you looking into. So yeah, if you've got a little bit of extra change, if you have a Christmas wish list, if you have someone who's willing to spend a little bit of money on you this Christmas and buy you any Switch game you want, here are 10 Switch games that you may want to look into. You won't find these in the wild. 9 times out of 10, you will have to get them online because that's the only place you can really find them. I'm going to go ahead and get going on some Astral Chain. Super psyched to get back into this one. And I will catch you all in the next video. It's the Y2K Collector. Take it easy.